Welcome back to Fresh. I'm Julie Dilorenzo, your host for this segment, and we are at Oxbow Park today. We're going to talk with Jerry Good in a moment, but first we want to talk with Marla Miller. We're going to talk about Elkhart County Living Magazine, which of course I'd like to thank them for helping to sponsor this segment. And the new magazine is out, Marla.
It is out. This is the April-May issue, and you're going to want to get this because there is a lot of information. One of the things that we're most proud of is the fact that anytime you read anything in here, you're going to learn something. So it's very educational, and that's what this magazine will do for all of our readers.
Anything exciting that caught your eye in this magazine issue?
Well, first of all, what you're going to talk about today is the bird feeding, and there's some events going on that I didn't realize were in this area that are in here. And also there's a story in here about the new craze of Facebook. Now, it's not a new craze for college kids, but it is for us a little bit older generation. So there's a great story in there about that as well.
Of course, you've got the calendar. We did a segment last week about the Harry On exhibit that's over at the Bag Factory at the Fine Arts Theater or location there. So there's some other great calendar events I saw.
There's everything in here from auto shows, classic auto shows, to a ball, to some events such as the Maple Syrup Festival. And you know what? There's a lot, but I'm not going to tell them everything because they need to go out and get the magazine so they can read it for themselves.
Great. And tell them how they can do that.
Well, you can give us a call at 533-2151, extension 346, and request a subscription. It is available on magazine racks throughout the region, so if you're at the grocery store or convenience store, check it out there. Or go on our website at maplecitymedia.com. You can look at it there, and you can also subscribe there as well. It's only $12 for a year subscription.
Very reasonable. Thank you, Marla. I look forward to scanning that a little bit closer now that it's out. All right. Well, speaking of the cover, it is all about bird feeders. Step on in here, Jerry. We are with Jerry Good, and he is the naturalist as well as the marketing coordinator for Elkhart County Parks Department. And Jerry, we're going to talk about bird feeders. Of course, here we are in April. It's 30-some degrees out. And I've always wondered, what about these little birdies when it's the dead of winter?
Well, when it's dead of winter, they have been provided with, and they do have natural food still out there, and they do have cover. But we can help them out by putting out some bird feed for them and giving them a little helping hand.
Well, we're going to talk real quick about the bird feeders you've got here today. We want to thank Martin's Pet and Garden for providing these for us. So let's just kind of go down the line and let folks know what's out there and available.
Yeah, there are a lot of different types of feeders out on the market, and it can be a little bit overwhelming if you don't know what you're really looking for. And we have a wide variety of feeders here. The first one here is a hopper feeder, and this is a great feeder if you're looking for something a little bit more rustic. It holds a lot of seed in there. You can get a lot of birds at the feeder, and it can really provide for a lot of different variety of birds at one time. The one right next to it is another style of hopper feeder, and this is a great one if you have problems with squirrels in your yard. This is a spring-loaded hopper feeder. When the squirrel gets onto the feeder, it actually closes up. The spring is tight enough that if there's a songbird on the feeder, it'll stay open to provide them with the food. Next to it here is a large feeder. This can be used with either a mixed seed or with a black oil sunflower seed. The nice thing about this is that it is large and you won't have to go out and fill it up quite as much, which when it's January and we have 6 inches of snow on the ground, that's kind of a nice thing. Right next to that is really a great feeder. This is a tube feeder. And the tube feeder is great for dispensing black oil sunflower seed or mixed seed with it. This particular one has some really nice features in the fact that it has a cover on the top which will help to protect the seeds from the weather. It also help to keep the squirrels off of it. It has the Lexan body, which is nice and tough, and then it has the reinforced holes with metal that'll keep the squirrels from being able to eat your feeder besides your seed. And a really special feature about this one particular feeder that I have here is that this is a quick clean feeder, and they're kind of new on the market. They're just starting we're just starting to see them. But the bottom will actually come off of this to make for easy cleaning. And cleaning is really an important aspect of our bird feeding program. We want to be sure that we do clean our feeders regularly with soap and water to keep any mold or any type of bacteria from forming in them.
I know in the article you said this is probably the best bang for your buck as far as somebody who's just going to be new like me. Real quick, let's jump down here to the hummingbird feeder because I know this is popular with a lot of people.
Right now, we're starting to get into a transition season. A lot of people think that bird feeding is only for the winter time, but feeding year-round is a great opportunity to learn about the birds throughout the season. And it's also a great time to start thinking about finding and cleaning out your hummingbird feeder for this coming year. And this is a hummingbird feeder. We fill this with a mixture that we can either make or we can purchase a mixture from the store. It doesn't have to have red food coloring in it. Most of them are red, and the red is really more for our benefit than for the birds. This particular one is kind of interesting in the fact that if we look in the center here, we have a little moat area, and this can be filled with water. And what this is really good for is not only do hummingbird feeders attract hummingbirds, but they also have a tendency to attract ants and as well. And what you can do is fill this little moat in here, and it helps to keep the ants from getting to the feeder holes there.
Well, there's a lot of options, Jerry, for people. Of course, there's a lot of feed options, and I'm sure that they can be educated on that when they go in and purchase their feeders. Of course, make sure we keep our birds with some water as well. And we have lots of different types of birds. We were watching them out your window, so there's a lot of enjoyment I think people can get by accessing bird feeders into their yard.
You sure can. It's a great opportunity not only to help out the birds, give them a little bit of food, but really the great benefit is what we can learn from the birds. It's an opportunity for us to learn a little bit about the natural environment around us, and a great way to teach our kids the appreciation of nature and also the respect for nature as well.
Well, we appreciate you being with us here today and teaching us about bird feeders. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be back in a short break.